Welcome to Market Makers, your home for tomorrow's TA today. Often imitated, never replicated. Last video, guys, I did my 2024 forecast. I showed you the fractal wave patterns for blow-off tops or for lower highs for the S&P, the NASDAQ, Bitcoin. So check that video out. Deep dive into those patterns. I show you and explain to you the movements I see in the marketplace. I'll have Lee throw it up in like a 2024 forecast folder on YouTube for you. But this video, I brought back the altcoins. I brought back the international markets. We're going to do a market update, see what trades are presenting themselves. We'll check out and see if we're still tracking to that fractal retracement pattern we covered last video as well. Guys, if you want to trade these Ponzi markets, check out SimpleFX and BingX. Both of those sponsors will pay for your first month in our Discord. The links are in the video description. Message Lee in the Telegram. That's in the video description. He will help onboard you onto the Discord. When our new website launches in 2 weeks, hopefully 2 weeks, that offer will be gone. So take advantage of it because you also get all of our indicators for free. And you can try out our complete service for free for a month. All right, let's go ahead and proceed. Be sure to like and subscribe, by the way, and follow us on X as well. Looking at the 10-year, guys, this is where you're getting pressure on the markets at the 1272 at 4.629. You're at 4.65 right now. Again, applying pressure to the markets. Your high this cycle is just over 5%. I think this will come up more as we go through these wave progressions here in the retracement cycle, ultimately helping to send the markets lower to complete our retracement cycle where we will bottom and go to our blow-off tops, or the lower high scenario, your plan A, your plan B, if you wish. Let's go ahead and move forward. Looking at the DXY, we have our long-term Wyckoff fractal we've been trading in. There's your failed breakout here, and we came back down. You have your higher low scenario that's in play. You have your key W pattern that we've been covering over and over again. And of course, we can just pull our fib here from the midpoint of that W down, and you can see we almost got to the 1618, and you're struggling at 105.883. Strong dollar, weaker markets, pressure on the markets, high yields, pressure on the markets. Of course, here's our S&P 500 blow-off top pattern. Here's the retracement we're looking at right now since our total solar eclipse crash cycle, also providing confluence. We had that lunar cycle change, guys, since the last video. I told you looking for bottom. What did it do? That day, boom, it started going back up. Selling off a little bit here, but we're looking for this retracement to come down to that 4,700 level, and then we're either going to make our blow-off top at 6,082 or our lower high at 5224 in this range. Again, watch the previous video for an in-depth dive. What I want to look at, though, is the actual retracement that we're doing so far. This is the retracement cycle. Covered this last video as well in detail. So we have the sell-off, right? We have the sell-off, S&P back in July high 2023 down to the October low. That first wave one down, 5-wave harmonic fractal down. That first wave one down went 6.14%, 16 bars, 22 days. And when you compare it to the current wave, 6.94%. So this wave was a little bit stronger. Day counts the same, 14 bars, 18 days, 16 bars, 22, 14, 18, okay? Within a couple days of each other. So we're looking for this wave back up, as you can see on my screen. The total cycle last time for that wave one to wave two played out 35 bars, 50 days. Again, 34 being a Fibonacci fractal. 36 bars, 50 days is what we have forecasted here. As of right now, tracking extremely close, right? It's only the first wave going into the second wave. But let's just look at this as well. Let me zoom in some because we have a couple of days now, right? So we have our bottom. Let's go up to this top here. We are 3 bars, 5 days, 3.33% on this bounce, right? Is that out of the ordinary from what we did last time? Let's look at this. When you go 3 bars, 5 days. 2.9%. So again, extremely similar. 3 bars, 5 days, almost a 3% move. 3 bars, 5 days, a 3.33% move. And we had a greater decline on the way down. So far, I mean, from a fractal perspective, tracking extremely close, guys. And what we're looking for is this wave 2 to come up around that 5,200, retesting the base of this distribution Wyckoff fractal, okay? And I'm looking for that date. We have May 21st, again, based off, we covered this extensively last video, but based off percentages and Fibonacci levels and the time it took from that prior fractal. So we'll see if it gets there sooner or later. But right now I have May 21st for that second wave. And so far the fractals tracking near identical to it. So if we look at this in a daily perspective, regardless of how long it takes duration-wise for that fractal to play out, what we're really looking at here, guys, is a retracement to the 618. There's your 50. The 618 is the base of this distribution structure here in Wyckoff, okay? So you'd be looking for this retest, again, your ABC move up to the 618 and where it's going to be rolling back down. If you share my market view, this retracement has more downside to come. Even better if it gets to the 786, my favorite place to trade 3-wave moves, which would be 52, 54. We shall see. We have to see if we can get up to this level. And again, according to the fractal, we have some time. You're going to be coming up and pulling back like you are now. So you're coming up, you're going to pull back, you're going to come back up again, and that second move is going to be the move that gets you there. If this plays out the same way as the previous fractal, which you can see, let me zoom in so you guys can see this a little bit. I'm sure it's difficult when it's that small. Here's your previous fractal. This is the move we're doing right now, okay? So when you look at this previous fractal daily time frame, this is where you are. You had your sell-off, your move back up. You're going to pull back. This is the move we're doing possibly right now, that pullback, and then your wave back up to the upside on its way to the second wave, okay? The second wave up here. So that's what we're looking at. Get this pullback that's coming right now as I'm talking. It'll hold some level and then come back up, and then it'll pull back again possibly and come back up to that level. And really all that equals out to, guys, is watch 5,200, 5,250. Those are 2 levels I'm interested in possibly running this thing short yet again, okay, to complete this 3-wave, this ABC pattern here. We can go from this accumulation W structure down. Here's your B. And it'll be coming up. C would be up here at 618 at 5,200 or up here at 52.54. That's the move I'm looking for. That's the trade I'm looking for. Let's bounce over to the NASDAQ, the NQ. Again, covered this extensively last video. So NASDAQ blow off top scenario. We're looking for a retracement to come down to 16,786 or 15,885 are 2 targets. So far tracking extremely close to our prior July high all the way down to that October low, okay? Tracking extremely close. Here's a lower high scenario with the 18,104 or 19,510 that we covered as well. But let's zoom into the fractal. Let's look at the same thing. I want to look at the same thing. Look at the percentages here. Let's go ahead and take this from our July high, this first wave down, your wave 1, right? Your wave 1, 9%, 22 bars, 30 days. That was your wave 1 down. What did we do here, wave 1? Let's see. I know we got about 9%, 8.5%. Slightly shallower, 20 bars, 29 days, 22 bars, 30 days. Extremely close in the day count, literally 1 day apart, 2 bars apart, 1 day apart. And this is where you're at, 8.5%, 9%. Now, what about this bounce back up? How closely are we tracking on the bounce? So we had our wave 1. Now we're trying to get up to wave 2. Where's that bounce? 4%, which is 3 bars, 5 days. If we look at this bounce back up, let's go 3 bars, 5 days, 5%. So right now the NASDAQ's underperforming to the upside, right? Previous bounce went up 5% in 3 bars and 5 days. Now we're at 4%, selling off a little bit. So it's not going to track. If you're expecting it to be 100% identical, it's not going to be. What you're looking for is confluence for these moves. But again, I believe this cycle is going to play out. And regardless of how long it takes to get to this wave 2 top here, the targets remain the same. But right now it's on track to be tracking identical. When you look at this on the daily time frame here for NQ, we're getting rejected at the 382 right now as we speak. And when you look at this, where my key target is 18,100, the 618. Once again, just like you had on the S&P, retesting the base of this Wyckoff fractal. And if we can get up higher to the 786 18,367. That's what I want to see. At some level, we're going to pull back, right? And then we're going to try to come back up again. And again, this will be your W pattern that will form in the marketplace. Get that W, come up to the 618 at 18.1, 18,367. That's the trade I want to be in. Guys, covered the Bitcoin pattern as well. This is the blow off top. Three peaks in a domed house pattern we covered last video. Watch that for all the details and my thoughts. Let's look at Bitcoin. We try to regain here into neutral territory. You're below the 50 still on the daily, but in a fractal corridor here, you're at the bottom range of this neutral territory. And you can see if we can try to hold up here, that level is 64,450 that you want to stay above. Obviously, you've got as low as 59 and change. So again, this is going to track, in my opinion, with the markets. If the markets, what you're trying to do is inch their way back up to wave back up. So I think we can see higher levels in Bitcoin as well. If we just pull this from that 73,843, if this is a low for right now, the levels that I really like on Bitcoin. I mean, I really like to tackle Bitcoin as high up as possible if I'm looking for a short, which is going to be up here at that 70,782, 71, 72K level, okay? Up in that area is where I really want to be on Bitcoin if the markets are playing out the way that I think they're going to play out, right? Because Bitcoin, if the markets obviously take out their all-time highs, I mean, this trade idea is off the table, but I don't see that happening. So same thing here, guys. Bitcoin is waving up. Looks like it's pulling back. Let's see if we can get another level up. Hopefully we'll print something like this W pattern to get a target off of vis-a-vis Fibonacci and possibly set up some trades here on our way up to wave 2. Let's go ahead and look at Solana. Let's go ahead and pull our fib down. We've had a couple of great trades. If you guys have been watching this channel on Solana, between that 205, 210 area, that 45% drop. Same thing. This is nothing more than a three-wave pattern as of right now. We'll see how this plays out. Something like this, right? So this is what we're looking at. And I like to see Solana in confluence with Bitcoin and confluence with the markets as they wave up to their wave 2. I'd like to see Solana get up here to at least that 189, 190 level, but we'll see. You know, it may underperform, it may overperform. It's going to vary. Could be idiosyncratic stories for these different altcoins, but we'll see what it does. It's still early, guys. It's still early. We got time. Remember, those retracement fractals, at least on the markets, right? If we're looking at the S&P, guiding the broader market, where the hell is my chart? Hold on. I just want to look at it. I think it was May 20th, right? May 20th, May 21st is where I have that coming up to. So we'll see how closely this tracks with the markets, but these are the levels from a Fibonacci perspective I want to watch. Obviously, your 618 is at 173. I like these things a little bit higher up. And again, we have some time. Ethereum, same thing. We had that key resistance at the 786 from the all-time high, 4,013. And of course, we fell down here. We're below the 618 at 33.43. Let's just pull a new fib here. If we pull this from the top down to our current low, looking at 3,600, 38.17. Those are two levels I would want to watch to see if we move up, if Bitcoin moves up with the markets on their way to wave 2. Be watching these levels here for potential trade setups. If we look at Tesla, we talked about Tesla. We talked about it needing to hold its fractal. It dipped below, came back up. Important stock. It's still a large company, regardless of the value degradation that is experienced. Lots of news about, you know, whether or not they're coming out with that low-cost EV. Market liked what they heard. Gapped up there. So you got this gap up, and you're just going to watch Tesla. This just needs to hold in this area for the markets to be able to wave up. I mean, obviously, one of the larger companies in the NASDAQ, you don't want this thing to start capitulating all the way down, because I have that ultimate target much lower, as you guys know, down there in the mid-60 range for Tesla. But that's not going to happen until the whole markets capitulate, because at some point, this is going to wave back up with the markets after they complete their retracement cycle. But Tesla needs to get below 152 to have more downside. Then I'll be watching that 101, and we'll have some higher levels up there as well. Okay, so we'll watch Tesla, and then when we look at Apple, Apple has this three-wave double top pattern that we covered last video. And as you can see on Apple, 165 is where that key line in the sand was for the neckline for this double top. And you bounced up right off of it at 168. Very weak move, just trying to hold the base. But you don't want to see Apple, one of the top 3 largest companies, capitulate if you want to get this nice retracement wave back to the upside. If we cover the mini DAX here, you can see mini DAX came back up as well. And if we look at the mini DAX, We have this move here. It came down to the 618. It got rejected at the 618. So again, you know, I want to see this come up a little bit more. 18,572 at the 786, but 18,365 is the rejection. But if the markets continue to move up to those higher level targets, the S&P and the NASDAQ, I would expect the European markets to move up as well. So you may be trying to put in a little base here for this last little wave up. Time will tell with that. And if we look at Stocks 50, same thing, guys. Stocks 50 came up. This looks like probably a 618 hit. Yeah, just above your 618, almost to the 786. You're at 49.50 to 618 at 49.58, 786 at 50.11. But again, I trade European markets in confluence with the U.S. markets. If the U.S. markets start rolling down hard here, then obviously that could be your second top here. But if they don't and they start holding their base, they wave down, continue to track to our fractal, I would expect these to have a little bit more upside. Looking at the Paris market, we didn't get to the 618 at 81.09. I like 81.09, but better is 81.81 at the 786. And again, confluence, if the U.S. markets continue to climb and can hold a base, these are the areas I'd be looking at for trades. All right, guys, hope you enjoy the video. Leave me your questions, comments. Hope to see you in the Discord, and have a fantastic weekend, everybody.